We're giving it just a couple extra minutes for a few folks to make it in the room.
But yes. Yeah. What's there? Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the October 18th, 2023, day one of a two-day retreat for the Board of Forestry. Try that. Can everybody hear me? Okay. For the Board of Forestry, for the record, I'm Jim Kelly and Service Chair of the Board. Today, I will perform, actually, I don't think I will perform a roll call. I'll have the board introduce themselves when I'm finished talking here. But I want to remind everyone that this meeting will serve as a planning retreat and no formal decisions will be made. And in addition to that, no public comment will be available. Today, we are live streaming this event on YouTube. So to make sure our viewers online can follow along, I'll offer some best practices. Consider silencing your cell phones, and if you can, limit background noises. For those joining us remotely, if you need to step away, feel free to mute and disable your video. If anyone experiences technical issues, use the chat function on Zoom or speak up during the retreat, and our ODF hosts will do their best to figure out a solution. Generally, we ask everyone participating to state their names before providing commentary. This is really important for our folks that are joining us online, and use the available microphones. And recognizing some of our guests are here in person and others online, we will do our best to honor breaks and announce our times when reconvening or adjoining the retreat. Today, we will be engaging in government-to-government learning space, where we plan to have communication sessions with the 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon. Due to limited seating, sessions will be limited to invited tribal representatives, department leadership, and support staff. So to get a feel for who's in the room today, I would like to start by having board members introduce themselves, and then quickly, if staff members can introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there to get our tribal representatives so that they can introduce themselves. And we are, despite all this talk, here to listen. So, board members.
I'll start. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I'm Joe Justice. I'm board member. I'm from LeGrand, Oregon.
Hi, Jennifer Wright, board member from Salem, Oregon. Good afternoon. Lizak Powell, board member from Medford, Oregon.
Ben Doimling, board member from Rickreall, Oregon.
Brenda McComb, board member from Philomath, Oregon.
Carla Chambers, board member from Corvallis, Oregon.
Okay, ODF staff, can you quickly introduce yourselves?
I guess I'm the one holding a microphone. So Ryan Gordon, I serve as the planning division chief.
Joy Krosick, ODF's public affairs director.
Don Everingham, Northwest Oregon area director.
Mike Croon, Deputy Division Chief, filling in for Josh Bernard, Division Chief.
I am Jessica Butler, the ODF internal auditor.
I'm Cal Mukamoto. I'm the state forester, and I'm from Coos Bay.
Boy, that's gonna go.
Good afternoon, Kyle Abraham. I serve as the deputy state forester.
Good afternoon. My name is Brent Grimger. I'm the Chief Information Officer.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Shaw. I serve as the Chief of Fire Protection.
Good afternoon, Mike Wilson. I'm the State Forest Division Chief.
Good afternoon. I'm James Short, the agency chief financial officer.
Good afternoon, Dave Larson, Southern Oregon Area Director.
All right, next, we would like to have our tribal representatives be able to introduce themselves. I'll ask at this point that that you can make a brief introduction. We're shortly then going to be returning so that tribal representatives can have more time to talk, both in this full room as well as in the breakout sessions. But if we can get a microphone moving around the room and get some quick introductions made, that'll keep us on schedule.
Hey everyone, just real quick, myself, my name is Deanna Grimstead, Deputy Tribal Liaison and Cultural Resource Steward. And for those guests that we do have that are from one of the 9 federally recognized tribes, completely up to you whether you would like to introduce yourselves at this point or in a different session. So if you would like to introduce yourself, please raise your hand. I'll go down.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Courtney. I'm on the tribal council with Cow Creek.
Afternoon, I'm Tim Vredenberg. I'm the forest manager here supporting chairman or former chairman Courtney. It's a habit.
Hi, I'm Kyle Reed. I'm the wildfire mitigation specialist for the Cow Creek.
Good afternoon. I'm Mars Galloway. I'm the Cultural Resources Department Manager for the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs.
Robin Harkins, Natural Resources Director for the Coquille Indian Tribe.
And I'm Sarah Palmer. I'm the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer of the Coquille Indian Tribe.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Kennedy. I'm the Natural Resource Director for the Confederated Tribes of Silex.
I'm Alta Harris. I'm the Environmental Coordinator for the Klamath Tribes.
Good afternoon. My name is Tanea Miller, and I'm the Klamath Tribes Tribal Liaison.
Okay, thank you very much. The Board of Forestry has not had the opportunity to interact with the tribes of Oregon previously, and we welcome those representing their respective tribes. Undoubtedly, there will be much to discuss, and in an atmosphere where many voices may be heard. The 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon have lived, worked, and played in Oregon since time immemorial. And partnering in natural resource stewardship is imperative, given the challenges we face together and the millennia of knowledge tribes bring to ecosystem management in the Pacific Northwest. We hope this meeting will be a beginning for future dialogue and respectful and intentional engagement. Cal, as our state forester, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I think very similar comments. Thank you,
Okay.
Jim. Should I take the?
You
mic
should,
here? Okay.
yes.
Wow, that is heavy, okay. First off, my name is Cal, for the record, Cal Bukamoto, I'm state forester, and I'd really like to start out saying that I appreciate everyone coming to this meeting, and especially our sovereign nations, the 9 federally recognized tribes. The 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon have called Oregon home since time immemorial. They existed prior to the foundation of the United States of America and are descendants of the original natural resources stewards, which provides a historic context of Oregon's modern and future natural resources management. The board and department are committed to communicating, engaging, and partnering with tribes at a government to government level. Today, the intent is to lay the foundation for strengthening intergovernmental relations, resolving potential concerns, and enhancing exchange of information, ideas, and resources for the greater good of all Oregonians. I do want to say that this is a first step, and we're not going to have all the answers. And so we are going to be here to listen. I wish I had all the answers, and I never have. So we are very honored to welcome representatives from the 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon, and I'll hand it back to you, Jim.
So as I said, we're really here to learn and listen, both the department and the board, but we've been talking so far, just us. And I would love to have an opportunity before we move to breakout sessions that if any tribal representatives have any introductory remarks that they would like to share, or thoughts, questions, anything, I'll open the floor to tribal representatives.
I was just going to jump in here real quick. I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Colby Drake. I'm the Natural Resources Director for the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and just wanted to jump in there real quick. Thank you.
Any opening comments? I don't think people are going to continue to be this bashful as this day progresses, but.
Well, while I'm had the mic, I can do a quick opening comment. I'm just very happy to see this type of meeting come to fruition. I've been in this role for a few years now, and I'm really excited just to have this opportunity to sit down and have conversation with the State Board of Forestry. Like you said, I don't think this has ever happened for the 9 federally recognized tribes to sit down and have this conversation, and just look forward to this, and would definitely commend the state and the staff for putting this on and making this available to us. So thank you.
Others? You know, I will say, personally getting ready for this, despite having lived in Oregon all my life, I realized how ignorant I am on so many of these issues that you all deal with. And so I think, speaking for the board and the department, we all look forward to becoming less ignorant and being able to work with all of you in the future. With that, I think we could be, do we got somebody? Yeah, I think we'll be able to start moving towards the direction of our breakout groups. And so Deanna and Hillary will help lead us to the next step.
I will. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And apologies, I'm right in front of the camera, so I'm going to shift on John here, our great vendor here. For the record, my name is Hillary Olivos-Rude. I'm the administrator for the Board of Forestry and direct ODF support staff for these events. So again, thank you very much for coming out and traveling. Truly appreciate it. So I will just kind of go over a quick format for the public joining us online, as well as those in the room. Just to let you know, this is an annual retreat. No formal decisions will be made. So these rooms and spaces are really meant for greater conversation between the board, as well as the executive leadership, in addition to their invited guests, which is the 9 federally recognized tribes of Oregon. So thank you again. So what we'll do is we're going to have 2 sessions. They will be back to back with a small break in between, and we will coordinate between individual leaders. So those leaders will be, our discussion leaders will be Jim Jim Kelly, Board Chair, Cal Mukamoto, State Forester, and Kyle Abraham, Deputy State Forester. And then when I do call out your names, I will also connect you with a cultural ambassador for each of the rooms. So if you require any assistance at any point, they will be your contact. And then we will also have assigned executive team leaders, because again, we want to mix these folks up and make sure that we have a lot of different voices in that room and ears to listen. So, but I'll go ahead and do that call out after I just give a little bit more information for the public. So for the public who are listening in or joining us online, just to let you know, this is planned to take place from 2 to 4 p.m. So we will be a session slide that shows up. When we conclude our session, I will generally give a 5-minute remark to all the breakouts, as well as back online, letting you know we're getting ready to rejoin for closing remarks. So that's really the end. We're hoping to conclude today by 5, but if not, that's okay as well. So, well, I say that, but not everyone may agree with me in this room. So, all right, I'm just going to call out the groups, and then Deanna will conclude with any additional information that I may have missed. All right, so you might want to stand if you'd like to kind of shift your legs, get your materials ready, and then we're going to separate y'all. And so we've got Jim, Ryan, Carla, Brenda, Mike Wilson, James Short, Joy Krozak, and Megan as an observer. And for another room, we will have Cal, Cindy, Ben, Liz, Mike Kroon, Dave Larson, Frank Grimsud, and Alyssa. And then in another room, we will have Kyle, Sabrina, Chandra, Joe, Mike Shaw, Don Everingham, Jessica Butler, and John Tokarczyk as an observer. And Rep McIntyre also as an observer. So hopefully y'all will find groupings, and I'm now passing it over to Deanna to conclude.
Jim, raise your hand, please. Will representatives from the Klamath tribes, Confederated tribes of the Coos, Lower Umpqua, Swaslot Indians, and Warm Springs, Confederate tribes of the Warm Springs Indian Reservation of Oregon, please come meet with Jim, and we will usher you into a separate room. Cal, please raise your hand. Wherever Cal went.
I'm standing. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Look for someone you can't see under everyone else. Will the Confederate representatives from the Confederate tribes of Grand Ronde, the Caquec Band of the Umpqua tribe of Indians, and the Burns Paiute tribe representatives please meet with Cal, and we will usher you into a room. Those online from those representing tribes will be online in the room when we reach you. Kyle. Kyle's group is lucky or unlucky. We are actually heading out to a pavilion outside. This will include the executive director of the Legislative Commission on Indian Services, representatives of the Coquel tribe, Confederated tribes of the Siletz Indians, and if there are any representatives from the Confederate tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, they will also be part of Kyle's group, whom I will be escorting out to the pavilion. Are there any immediate questions for any of the representatives, board members? Okay, great. Looking forward to the evening or to the afternoon. Possibly.
That's kind of where I was at. I was like.
Well, yeah, in our group, they talked about, the worst consultation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a little less than 40 minutes left. I think the remainder of this, we won't be too highly structured. I don't think there's any reason for that. I'll report that in our group, we had just really a wonderful conversation. And I think we covered a lot of ground, and it was exactly, I think, what we wanted to have. I mean, speaking for the board and for the department to initiate this as a learning and listening tour of sorts. And maybe Cal, you might have a few things to say, and I think it would be helpful to hear from whoever wants to talk during this time. But for those of you who are scribes like Ryan, it would be great for you to just quickly go through what were the main takeaways from each group. So Cal, anything before?
Yeah, let's see, I probably should speak in the. Yeah, all right, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to just extend a word of thanks to the tribes and representatives of the tribes that were here. I also like to thank our staff and executive team members, and especially our SWO, Southwestern Oregon district, and all the help they did to put this thing together. So I guess right now we probably want to go back to the scribes, and then we're going to have any final tribal comments. What do you think?
You bet.
Okay, I'll hand this back to you.
One other thing, I want to recognize that we have a local elected official, Representative McIntyre here, who has joined us for the day. We thank you very much. Do you have anything that you would like to say to all of us?
Oh.
We can get you a microphone.
Oh, I don't know if I need it, but everybody always says that, and everybody says, yes, you need it. My name's Emily McIntyre. I'm the state representative for District 56, which is the northeast corner of Jackson County and the west half of Klamath County. I am so happy to be here today to be able to take part as quietly as I could. I did chime in a little bit there in the end. So I just so appreciate the conversation and the relationships that are being built here, and being in Southern Oregon and being very affected by especially the forest fires and the lightning strikes. I just can't reiterate how important proper forest management is. And I want to give a shout out. They're not technically in my district, but I claim them, whether they like it or not, the Klamath tribes and their work in managing the forest, and their section in the Bootleg Forest that they managed. I believe they showed you pictures, is green and thriving where the rest is not. And that is kudos to them and their amazing forest management. They also bring in youth to help with that, which they came up, and I can't remember, Tania, you might remember the name of that. They came up and actually gave a presentation to the Joint Ways and Means Education Committee. Do you know which one it is? Lomakatsi. It was incredible. And these kids had found their home in doing this. It was so impactful. So just a partnership there, I think, is so important. And I really look forward to seeing where the rest of this retreat goes and hearing more about your visions tomorrow. And I just want to thank you for inviting me and letting me be here. So thank you.
Okay. Ryan, do you want to talk about what came out of our group, and then we'll go to the other scribes?
Sure. Yeah, happy to do that. Hopefully I just gave the group a little summary before we left. I'll try to do the same as well, I hope. So I listened to the conversation and just tried to kind of capture some key themes and kind of put things into buckets. So the first thing that we really focused on was communications and the difference between planning and consultation. And we talked about, the importance of that planning really happening at a staff to staff level. Then you've got consultation that happens at a government to government level, and the value of having a continuous, regular staff interaction and conversation so that everybody's on the same page about what's happening. And staff can then help guide the conversation and move it up to that consultation level, that true government to government consultation level when necessary. The next thing we touched on quite a bit was capacity, both capacity within ODF and state government and capacity within tribal governments for this kind of dialogue and engagement. Really recognize the importance of trying to support and build especially tribal capacity, considering how many different issues are coming their way, and talked about a few different examples that some federal agencies are trying to make some investments there. We spent a fair amount of time also talking about including traditional ecological knowledge in management decisions and plans, and some of the opportunities and some of the unique approaches that some of the tribes are taking to management of their lands that would be very helpful across the landscape, considering the time that the history that they have in managing this landscape. And that it would be really valuable and important for us to be able to reach out to them and learn from that and include that in strategies across the landscape. We got into agreements and recognizing the value that agreements can bring, the challenge of understanding all of the different options and how they're implemented across the board. And in particular, we talked through, I think for ODF, we talked about G&A and opportunities to include tribes more in the work that we're doing with our federal partners through G&A, but also the importance of really helping of the agency understanding those different agreement mechanisms and reaching out to the tribes and including them where there really is a true opportunity for synergy. Kind of coming back to the communications theme a little bit, we also kicked around conceptually the idea of developing some kind of intertribal advisory committee to the state forester as a mechanism for having a standing body and a standing place for information exchange. And then finally closed out with a pretty good focus on the importance of training and developing a standardized training program within the agency and really within state government in general, and recognizing that folks who work in different spaces and at different levels probably need different levels of training so that they understand the role that they play in interacting with tribal governments, the role that the state and the agency plays. And that really then gets back to some of the, knowing what the mechanisms and the avenues are for productive synergistic relationships. So that was, I think, my summary. I invite others in the group to add.
Great, Ryan. I think there's actually a number of specific suggestions that were brought along as well, under that, but that's great. In my role as acronym police, for a couple of people may not know what GNA, that's Good Neighbor Authority. Who's up next as a scribe? And be sure to introduce yourself for the record.
Can you hear me? Thank you. Okay, my name is Sabrina Perez, and I serve as the Senior Strategy Manager for the Department of Forestry. And I'll have to bear with me as I collect my thoughts here. I would say that within our group, there were several common themes that were similar to what I heard Ryan's group share. One of those being that came out was our communications and how we communicate, whether it be in the small consultation of just a staff to staff level, or kind of initiating the larger consultation on a government to government level. There's recognition that the communications should not always go, just to the council chairman. That there is recognition to the field staff that should engage or be able to be notified of that same communication. And so that engagement there throughout was heard multiple times. It also even translated to a different level of communication too. And if there is any concern, the tribe may be concerned about this matter or issue, to not hesitate to pick up the phone and call directly. Part of that connection, there was a lot of appreciation shared for Deanna's role as a liaison. And multiple times throughout our conversation, we heard about how valuable your time has been spent here in the last couple years here with us now, recognizing it as a new role for the agency, a new position to the agency, and how valuable her time spent individually with each tribe has been, establishing the relationships, identifying the best ways to communicate, and kind of regularly reviewing policy issues that are coming, before the department and the board. I think one of the other things that was a highlight that was heard is the recognition that consultation goes beyond just the department needing to consult, but it also applies to boards and commissions as well. And so recognizing how the layers of that can be distinguished, and also recognizing within the consultations that occur that there is limited staff, and especially on the tribal side that, each tribe may have very limited staff appointed to review each one of these consultation requests. Another key point I heard is that oftentimes tribes have overlapping areas of interest. And so each tribe needs to be given the very same opportunity to contribute. Our early engagement is important, but the substance matters too. Operationally, we went into a few kind of thoughts into thinking about visions for forestry, with a desire to ensure access to the ancestral lands, ensuring early engagement with the resource advisors on incident management, and really setting the expectation for that. And there was also a shared discussion of the matters that are before both tribal council and tribal staff, as well as our agency and board too, whether it's terms of resiliency or climate change and adapting to that within our management practices. And with that, I would invite anyone else to go ahead and from our group, if I missed something that you think.
Thank you, Sabrina. Yeah, we forgot to mention that Deanna was praised endlessly. I thought she'd probably bribe them to, but it really is, it's Deanna, but it's also the position that she holds, and the fact that we have that position. Both are great person in a great position.
All right. Thank you very everyone, and thank you for the tribes for being here. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of toggling with my glasses because I have to be able to read. And I am going to be a little bit shorter because we had a lot of overlap, especially in terms of the consultation and communication process. And the one thing, oh, excuse me. For the record, my name is Cindy Kolomaychuk. I work with the State Forest Division. So in terms of communication, the big C consultation and small C consultation with staff as well as tribal council and the board members was something that was really distinguished there. Recognizing that our staff needs to do the day-to-day, but it's really important for the infrastructure to be built so that they have that approval and know it's a priority. And so thinking about having potentially an annual meeting for that big C so that they could come to terms with that and start developing those relationships. Another thing that we heard is about capacity and prioritization. And so we were thinking that this annual meeting would also be an opportunity for us to, for instance, share with the tribes our work plan that the board is developing and any work that we have coming up so that they could help to try to prioritize then. So that was something that we talked about in depth, is how we communicate at the board to the tribal council level, as well as staff to staff. We did have a lot of wins, if you will, in terms of communication and sort of that small C consultation with field staff, really along the theme of fire. And so that is a really positive thing, especially because fire is also a place where we have a lot of area for growth. And in that, we talked about there was sort of an overlying theme of autonomy that the tribes were bringing to the table. And so there are some kind of things that we need to think about in the short term, like how we work with the BIA and with our tribes and how they are paying for protection and making sure that that's not just a handshake necessarily. And then also, so that's sort of like the immediate fix that needs to be happening, but as well as considering the autonomy of the tribes with not only fire protection on their own lands, but also in managing their own lands. And Tim brought up the opportunity that we had with the PFA and the tribes essentially not having to adhere to the PFA, or what we would call the Forest Practices Act now. And that being an opportunity for them to actually think about what their own rules for their own lands would look like, and just sort of having us understand that it's not necessarily that that the rules are not that they're too conservative for them. Actually, it's the opposite of that. They're actually more conservative than the FPA, but it really is about them reclaiming their autonomy of these lands. Another piece that we talked about is smoke management. And that was a huge one, especially for this area, but throughout Oregon. And thinking about opportunities that we can take to be a little bit more outside of the box. Dave Larson had some pretty cool ideas that were well received, at least in our group. And we are also, I think that Liz, you brought up the need to work among agencies, DEQ and ODF, to think about how we might be able to work within the windows to really make a difference here and also educate the communities. I know that I'm probably missing a couple of things, but I did want to mention that Cal opened the group that we had with some of his words around what he thought was important. And I kind of wanted to end there. And it was around respecting the sovereignty, which I think that was a big theme in our group. Also understanding the historic and the cultural relationship with this landscape and what it means to the tribes. And then that there's really a huge opportunity for education throughout the ranks of ODF as well as the other state agencies. And the best way that we can do that is to understand each other's landscapes and our cultures. And for that to be sort of a part of that government to government consultation, and it doesn't have to necessarily be sterile. It's something that we could do in the field so that we could better understand what that relationship looks like. All right, so anything else from our group? If I missed anything.
Okay, I'd like to open this back up to, getting a signal. Yeah, okay. Wanted to open this back up particularly to our tribal representatives for them to share any thoughts as we move towards winding up the day. We are open to anyone who wants to have a microphone in front of their face.
From the Klamath Tribes, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting us here. This is my first time coming to something like this, and it reminded me of why I'm here and why I am in my position. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I learned a lot from the other tribes as well, because keep in mind all 9 tribes are different. But just thank you for inviting us.
Others, you know what, I have just reflecting on something quickly that I heard today. I'll paraphrase from one of our tribal representatives. But it was essentially that, you know, it's okay to make money growing trees as long as you are on the path to a more resilient forest. That was a really simple and wonderful statement.
Dan Courtney with Cow Creek. I just wanted to also just on behalf of Cow Creek, just thank you all for being here today. I think it was in our group, we had a good conversation. I think, you know, it's important that, you know, going forward that we have a better understanding, I think, from both sides. You know, consultation is a huge area. I think what I heard in one of the groups talked about, you know, the education process as far as, and I can tell you, having been on LCIS for a lot of years, when I was chairman, it's always been a challenge, I think, with state agencies, simply because, you know, folks come and go quite a bit. So, and not all agencies are, you know, handle consultation quite the same. The other aspect, and I think we did bring this up briefly, this is an example of the commissions and boards. I mean, there's certainly they, you know, it's operated a little differently than maybe what agencies do, but it's equally as important as far as consultation with the tribes. And you know, so I think that's another area where education is really important. Understanding what the tribes need as far as consultation. And you know, that works both ways. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. But just once again, thank you for the time today.
Thank you. Online, I think Colby Drake is still with us. Is Colby, are you there? And do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I'm still here, and I definitely appreciate that opportunity to provide a comments here at the, excuse me, end of the meeting. Yeah, and I just echo what a lot of the tribal staff and councils have said, is just appreciate this opportunity to engage in conversations related to sovereignty and just communication along with ODF. And I will give kudos to ODF. I feel like you guys are one of the state agencies that are getting this figured out. You guys are really close to this. And I just, yeah, I'm really excited to see the progress in the next coming years, because I think those relationships are there, and I can't wait to see the projects that come out of it. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Robin Harkins, Coquille Indian Tribe Natural Resources Director, echoing everybody else's thoughts. Thank you for inviting us here on behalf of our tribal council. We look forward to the partnerships that are going to continue to develop with ODF and our local staff, as well as the board here today and the state forester. So we really look forward to this relationship and continuing to build through Deanna with the rest of you.
Mike Kennedy with Siletz. I'll echo all those sentiments also, and just also want to make sure I say thank you to our local ODF staff. We've always had a good working relationship with them, and we look forward to broadening that with the board and continuing on that line. And also thank you to Deanna. She's been doing a great job.
Hi, this is Mars Galloway from Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. I just want to thank everybody so much for being here today. Thank you so much for an amazing conversation. It was so good to meet some of you and see some of you again. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds and continuing to build this relationship and some of these staff to staff and fostering that government to government relationship. So thank you so much.
I'm Holly Carroll with the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Lower Umpqua, Sayusla Indians. And I just wanted to say thank you for the invitation. And I'm learning a lot from all of this today.
I did share in our group that our goal, the departments and the board's goal, is to be head and shoulders above any other department of the state government in terms of how we handle tribal relations. So that's our goal. If we're not meeting it, hold our feet to the fire, please.
Because we're not competitive, right?
Yeah, not that we're competitive. Yeah. Cal, any kind of closing thoughts?
Oh, well. I think I don't have any closing thoughts. Actually, I'm just real happy that we've taken this first step on our pathway forward. And this is just a first step. I really wanted to emphasize listening today for our ODF. And I appreciate people wanting to do that. I think there's so much we can be doing together. And we're not doing it for tribes. We're doing it for ourselves too, because we can learn so much from tribes and the way they approach resources, how they make decisions, and also traditional ecological knowledge. And there's this area that I think that ODF can play a role in even with your trustees. We might be able to help in some of those relationships. So I'm not promising anything. Okay, but I just want to say I'm looking forward to working forward with our 9 sovereign tribes. And I'm actually looking forward to, can I go around the state and visit each tribe, Jim? Okay, you heard it. Okay.
How'd your staff do today?
Well, I already thanked them. They did fantastic. I mean, my gosh, I want to clap for them. And I thought I already thanked everybody, but I guess I didn't. Okay, sorry. I just want to thank the staff. I want to thank my executive team members that were here. Deanna, thanks for leading this. And Hillary, I know you guys work late hours doing a lot of this stuff. Ryan, you're not to be forgotten. A lot of the planning. And SWO, I mean, they really came forward and, to the point of lifting, cases of whatever we were eating, consuming. So thank you. And putting this whole thing together. And I also like to thank Jackson County for allowing us to use this room. So thank you, Jackson County. And so, okay, I'm getting the wrap it up. Okay. All right. Now I also just like to let's just give ourselves an applause here. This is just the start. Let's keep going.
So a little bit more thank yous and reminders. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Of course, especially the tribal representatives who come from all over and who took the time to help and support us in our shared journey of being stewards of Oregon's natural resources for generations to come. We hope to regularly convene to listen to one another's journeys and partnership outcomes. As a reminder, the board will return to this room tomorrow for day 2 of our retreat, starting at 8:30 a.m. And I also want to invite everyone in this room to the evening social occurring later today. The board will be engaging with communities in Southwest Oregon, but we'll be outside, which will be a welcome change. This event is set to begin at 6 p.m. in the gardens of the Voorhees Mansion located on the Eatonville Orchard and Winery. The address is included on our agenda, so we hope to see you there. And nothing further than we are adjourned.